Righty, so property evaluation time. Now, I'm going to take you through this property in Craigieburn and just show you how I would price it and how I would evaluate it. It's all good and well for the agent to quote something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it's worth. It could be underquoted, it could be overquoted. So we always run our own analysis to make sure that we are actually paying the correct price for the property. And this is a big question that most first home buyers would have. Even if you're upgrading, you might have the question, am I overpaying? So this is just a good way to run through that. Now you can see the agent's got, I would say he's pretty fair in the sense of he hasn't got anything that's back in April or May that might throw the pricing off, because it has changed a little bit. It's not dived off a complete cliff, but it has certainly changed a little bit. So he's got the quote 630 to 670. Interestingly, he's got properties in there at 560. So what I would do is we'd just have a look, and this is called the statement of information, which you can find on any property. It's just that one there, the price guide. So if we have a look at that one, is this the one so it's sold September 2022. So when we do a side-by-side comparison, we want to compare apples with apples. So this is 4-bed, 2-bath, 1 garage, and this is 422. So, we're missing a garage there, and it's a little bit hard to price a garage and what someone would pay for it. But the other thing that we want to look at is, this thing's got a big dwelling next to the side of it as well. But we also want to just have a look at, it's maybe nicer inside. If we have a look at this one, it's a 10-year-old build or so. It's all right. I wish they had have done some landscaping. Wish they could have just mowed the lawn beforehand. I don't know how hard that would have been before they got the photos, but anyway. And at least they've got a floor plan as well. So these guys might not have a floor plan, so it'll make it a little bit difficult. But what we're looking for, it's a similar finish. The garden's not that great. I would say this is a much smaller block though. It looks like they've got a car down the side there. So, in these areas, and it happens all over Melbourne, but generally in these outer suburb areas, they try to hide a couple of things. And, this hasn't got a square meter rate on there. So we can look up on systems in the back end to get the square meter, like the overall size of the block, but that's not going to help you, because I need to show you how to do it with all the free services available to you. So what we would do is to establish the estimated size of it. Just go to Google, and there's a really cool tool on here. You might need to flick it over just so that you can see the boundaries. But if you right click on Google and you hit measure distance, you can get a rough idea of how big that block is. So it's probably around the 300, like 295, 300 square meters. And this one, I'm not sure if they've got the size of the block on it. It's not there. Is it on the floor plan? Not on the floor plan. Not there. All right, so we'll do the same thing again. You can't measure it on the mapping system within realestate.com. So just pull up your own map, and we'll do the same thing again. I can probably tell you from looking at it, it's going to be a bigger block by quite a lot. It's a 448, and that's actually a standard size block, so it wouldn't surprise me if that blocks that on the nose. So look, when I'm saying apples with apples, yeah, this is not a good property to have in the mix, because it's just not the right type of property. So that's going off what the agent's got in the statement of information. Now, what I tend to do, you can go through these other properties as well, but what I'll tend to do is I'll go to realestate.com, I'll type in Craigieburn, and I'll go to sold. So just hit that sold button, because it's absolute gold. Now, we want to go to maps. So if we're over here, we're near that school. So we're near Aitken Creek Primary School. So we go back to the map view. So all you have to do is select map up the top. And we look for Aiken Primary School. And you can see there's heaps of properties, 535 properties in there. So we can change that again. So all you have to do there, so I'll just go back to that. So we're in this pocket. So what that does is it closes off everything else. And when you hit list, it only brings those properties that are in that vicinity into a list, which makes it a little bit easier to go through. But what we can do is we can tighten that up even again, where we'll go same bedrooms, same amount of bathrooms, same amount of car spaces. You don't have to worry too much about the pricing here because they'll be relatively the same. Okay, well that's not relatively the same. That's a lot more expensive. So that's what we want to have, newest to oldest. And you know what, as a buffer, we might just put a pricing filter of 750. What does that pull up? So 740, 448 square meter block. What does this look like? Presents better at the front for sure. It's big bedroom. Way more of an owner-occ type property. So what I say there, like owner-occupied, meaning that someone who owns it lives in there. It's probably not a tenanted property. It's got a good outdoor area, aircon in each room. Definitely, you know, someone's lived there that owned it. So, yeah, I would be much more certain that that's an owner-occupied property, which, you know, shows you the level of price difference. Okay, so Grevilla is probably the next on the list, and this is looking closer to what... I don't know why they don't have floor plans. Like, honestly, how can you sell a house without a floor plan? Alrighty, so I'm going to use this as a base. So when we're looking at Watermill, 630 to 670, and then we've got 40 Greville, which sold, you know, 3 months ago. What's that? 2 months ago. So yeah, well, it is 3 months ago. I can't believe that's gone so quickly. The market has, look, it's probably about the same. It's probably stabilized a little bit with people, you know, understanding that there's going to be interest rate hikes. So how I would look at this is we have them side by side. They are 422. Now, without having the floor plan, it's a little bit difficult, but what I can assume is if we look at this, it's got, you know, some nice little features to it. The double vanity, you know, I don't think this one's got the double vanity. Yeah, it's a single vanity. It's definitely more of a rental feel. So it's got the outdoor alfresco, as we can see here. Why won't they go back? So you can see the alfresco there, but this one's certainly a nicer property. So then we'll have a look at the location, and they're very close. Like this one's on the right hand side of Aiken. And that's just on the left. Like it's very, very close. So for me, that would be, you know, a slightly superior property. The square meter, if my calculations were correct on the other side, you know, it's neither here nor there. 30 square meters. It might be $10,000 to $15,000 worth that you would pay on the other property, but because of the quality of this one, it would definitely bring you down to that 650 mark. So in terms of where we would see value on it, it's actually a fair quote, to be honest. Anywhere between 630 and 650. So smack bang in the middle there is probably where this one is seeing value. So that was a quick run through on how you can evaluate a property at home using free tools. You can use Domain, you can use REA, which is realestate.com. And if you wanted to get some tips on how to bid at auction and how we break down an auction, you can go and check out that video right here. See you on the next one.